Well, good evening, everybody. It is evidently football playoff weekend, and we're going to give that Washington Tampa Bay game the horse eye, but we're going to talk about some hockey now. Let's do. Hey now, everybody. Welcome into that often imitated, never duplicated, original, live, unfiltered, uncensored, unedited, commercial-free Sharks podcast that is here, the Pucknologists. Time to wrap up your week of Sharks hockey, part of Teal Town, USA. Do that like and subscribe thing like you're supposed to, and leave your take in the comment section if you're not with us live in the super chat. And so what had happened was this week, another 0-3 week. There's been more than one of these. The Sharks sit 31st in the league, just the way we planned, by points percentage, with a record of 13, 26, and 6, currently leading the NHL with a worst all-time goal differential in the league. And you know what? Just like last season, baby. And what happened last season? We got the number one pick. What up, Ian? It was a crappy week.
It was.
Did really any San Jose hockey team win a game? Oh, yes. Yes, that first one against Bakersfield. The rest of it was all shit.
Yeah, I was telling you before we got on, yesterday was super annoying because we went to me and the missus and my son went to the Greyhound game. They lost, which isn't surprising. They are not a good team this year. And then obviously the Sharks lost, and that was whatever. And then the Barracuda lost, and I was just like, I don't even like hockey. What am I doing?
Yeah, I'm so disappointed. I'm just depressed. I'm disappointed.
What am I doing with my life?
Why am I still rooting for this type of stuff? All right, so for this week, I mean, Georgiev started 2 of the 3 games, and I got to say right there, put the brakes on. Why?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess he was working with the goaltending people, Thomas Spear. And I guess they wanted to give him, keep him warm, I guess. I don't know, man.
Then Thomas Spear should be fired? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean,
no, I'm kidding.
I look
sort of.
I didn't like the first 2 goals that Georgiev gave up.
No.
They were not good goals.
Mm-mm.
But after that, I mean, and again, you don't want to give the team, you don't want to spot a team 2 goals. But after that, I thought he locked in, and I thought he was fine. He wasn't the reason, he didn't help them. But I mean, I don't think the team in front of him was very good at all either.
Well, wasn't good, but then again, it's also the against right now the best team in the NHL.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? But the thing that just got me is the fact that Warsofsky comes out and says, well, it's been a week since he's played. We got to get him playing here. Mm-hmm. And, last played 4-0 loss to Philadelphia. We have full confidence in Georgie. He's won a lot of games in this league. None of them have been for the Sharks, but he's won a lot of games. Okay, sure. And I'm like, okay, I felt like the more honest answer would have been like, hey, look, we're super excited about Askarov, and the Knights have the best goal differential in the conference, so we don't want to ruin Yaroslav's confidence by letting the Knights shell the crap out of him.
I think he thrives on that shit, though.
As do I. I don't get starting Georgiev in 2 of 3 this week unless you're actively trying to participate in a tank. And if that's the case, sure, fine. And of course, you're not going to say it, but I just, what you have in Askarov. The only reason I can see to start Georgiev is to basically showcase him from now until the trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, look at I like the way I see it. I mean, we talked about this last week, but at some point, someone's got to go, because Askarov should not go back to the Barracuda. Period.
Yeah.
Like I just there's no reason for it. At
One of
this
you
point.
suckers gotta go.
Yeah, so I mean, someone has to go. Now, will anyone go? Probably not. I can't see people super lining up for Vitek Vanacek, or especially Georgiev. I don't care how good he looks for the Sharks. Like I think he could go on a real rip here, and I still think that teams would be like, no, thanks, pass, especially at his cap hit.
Yeah. And and I don't want to get into that, I'm not going to play that game. Oh, the Sharks don't have any retention, so that's a big deal.
Right, but I still think, like, if you're looking for a goalie at this point, like, Georgiev is not going to be high on your list. There's other guys that that you could probably go after on another team. I think, like, Detroit has 7 goalies that I'm sure they would be happy to trade one. John Gibson at some point has to leave Anaheim, right? It's only been happening for the last 17 years, it feels like.
I feel like we've been talking on the Pucknologists, like, back when it was just me and Jerk, back when it was me, Jerk, and Rocket. Like, it was such a long time that we've been talking about going, who's going to, go get Gibby? Because it's, he is not staying in Anaheim. That would be stupid to stay there. He needs to go get, and it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
And here we are in 2025, and they're like, how is this guy still there?
Because he's not good anymore.
Oh, but when he was, like,
but
my
yeah,
God.
but that was, I mean, but I said, like, we've been talking about him for 17 years. I mean,
yeah.
Realistically, that was 5 years ago, maybe 6 at this point.
See now, and okay, let's get to David's question here. Sure. And I like it. So, you don't think Askarov leading the CUDA to an AHL championship is valuable experience?
Sure it is, but the thing is, though, okay. So here's the thing, right? Yes, obviously, winning is good. However,
that's what
it's
they
not
say.
like he hasn't had. He's played in. He was on a team that played in 2 Calder Cup finals. No, neither team won. I don't recall. I don't think they won. I know they didn't win last year. Here's the thing, though, right? Like, at some point, like, Askarov's played a lot of AHL games. At some point, when you don't move up, like, that experience, it's diminishing returns, right?
Well,
because
he's proven that, like, I can play at the NHL level. Why am I in the
right? Like, there's just, like, the AHL, like, I don't want to make it sound like the AHL is a bad league, but, like, at some point, like, the longer you leave them down there, you're gonna leave them more prone to developing bad habits that you don't want him to bring to the NHL. I think he's done all he needs to do in the AHL, to be completely honest. Now, look, if the Sharks send him down and the Barracuda do well in the playoffs and and win a Calder Cup, that would be awesome. Like, I'm not going to say it wouldn't be awesome. I don't think that experience, considering he has AHL playoff experience already, is going to trump going against the best shooters in the world.
Yeah.
Which is what he needs to start doing at this point, because he's done the AHL.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. It's like he's punched his ticket. He's ready to go.
Yeah. I love the Barracuda. I want the Barracuda to do good. I would like them to stop playing 500 hockey.
No matter who's in it.
Right. However, like,
and I think Romanov is serviceable.
Romanov and Dell can service fine. Like, there's we'll talk about the Barracuda later, but, like, again, right? Like, at some point, he's got to start facing NHL shooters on the regular, and he's proven so far that he can do it. So I think sending him back to the Barracuda isn't. Eventually, it's diminishing returns.
Mm-hmm. And I like what is this? Tarantula 70. Wasn't Gibson the replacement for J.S. Jaguar? Dude, I
feel so old.
Dude, I thought Gibson was like Patrick Waugh's replacement.
Oh man,
like, he's been around that long.
Yeah.
Anyway, for the Vegas game, it's a 4-2 loss, and unfortunately, it's the last time the Sharks are going to see Vegas this season, and so they get swept. Post game, Warsofsky had I guess a quote unquote message to the vets. We shouldn't need to have an 18-year-old be our energy line. and I like that he refers to one player as a line. We need him and the rest of our guys to be energy lines. It doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, how long you've been in this league. Clearly, a bit of a swipe at the vets, which I have no problem with.
And justifiably so. Like that
Oh,
Vegas, they looked like ass in front of like I said, like I didn't like the first 2 goals that Georgiev let in, but after that he was locked in and he got nothing from the team in front of him.
And why would they? Okay, to be fair, the Sharks did score on their one and only power play opportunity. But the funny thing about this game is that it was, for the most part, all power plays. It was like the Sharks got 1 power play opportunity. They scored on it. They had to kill 2 power plays from Vegas. Couldn't do that either time. It was like, special teams be damned. I love that. And the other thing I do want to kind of call out before we move on is I got this screen cap here of Hurdle going to the box. Now, and it's funny because it's Hurdle, right? Yeah. Like, it was basically until he got the empty netter at the end of the game, it was like, oh, is this guy ever going to get, anything on the scoreboard? But he goes to the box. But oh, man, dude. I see a lot of empty seats around that fucking box.
Yeah.
And this is not like, 2 minutes into the first. This is just about halfway through the middle of the game. Look at all those empty seats, and I'm going, come on, we can market this shit better, guys. We can do it better. The other thing I did want to say about this particular game, I listened or I watched that crossover thing they do in the second intermission where whoever is doing the color with Rusanowski on radio, he comes on and does a hit with Randy Hahn. This time happened to be, for the first time that I know of this season, or at least first time I saw, Alex Stalock. Dude fucking killed it.
Goalies are smart. Goalies make some of the best analysts.
He was just like, he was on top, well-spoken, knew exactly what he was talking about. Easily, for me, I was like, if I'm Remenda, I'm like going, oh, fuck, this is the guy that's going to knock me out of a job. Like, holy crap, was Stalock good.
Yeah, I unfortunately, the Vegas game, I got the Vegas feed, so I did not see that. But it doesn't surprise me because, like, I'm always impressed by goalies generally when they're doing when they do stuff on TV, because I think they just see the game differently than players because they see everything in front of them. Who was it? He plays for oh fuck, he used to play for St. Louis. Yeah, I think he's in Montreal now. What the fuck's his name?
Well, it ain't Binnington.
No. But he was like, but I remember he was doing like hockey in Canada.
Hold on, who's the guy? No, you're talking about, see, I'm thinking about goalies. Who was the goalie forever in Montreal that was so awesome?
Carey Price.
Yeah, that guy. Okay, but we're not talking about him. Anyway.
No. I can't. And it's driving me crazy. I don't know his name. Not Snow Show? No. He's recent too. Like, Binnington took his job. Who was the goalie in St. Louis before Binnington?
Puck guy. Get it together, man.
Help me. Someone help me. I can't. And his name is on the tip of my tongue, and someone's going to put in the chat, and I'm going to be like, yes, that's the name. I'm an idiot.
Oh, man.
Jake Allen. Thank you.
Oh, okay. There you go. Jesus. You know what? Remember like 3 weeks ago that you couldn't figure out the name Erik Karlsson?
Yes, Jake Allen, so good, like so good on TV. Like, I remember there was like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but like the way he explained it, I will never not understand it ever again. Like, because it was just so well, like he was just so great. Yeah, that. Jake Allen, great, like TV guy. He's gonna be someone's gonna pick him up for TV, and they are gonna be way better for it. After what I saw from Stalock, I'm like, if he doesn't like automatically get bumped up to the top of the list, it's like we love Hannon, we love Smitty, we love anybody else who's oh God, what's that? Jamal Maris, love him, but I'm telling you,
stay like, when he did that hit with Randy, I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know. And I'm like, I have to listen to the third. I'm like, forget Drew and Randy, who I love. I need to listen to the radio broadcast because Stalock just killed it.
Yeah.
Oh, I just loves me some Stalock. And I have some stories about Stalock at some point we'll have to talk about later. But anyway, it's a 4-2 loss for San Jose. Another 1-goal loss when you toss the empty netter that Tomas Hertl. The name sounds remotely familiar. He is the guy who got the empty netter for Vegas. And that's where it was. So you're kind of like, all right, well, the best team beats the worst team essentially in that conference. What are you going to do? All right. But
I think that score is generous to the Sharks. They were not good that game.
Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible. So they head over to Utah. Georgiev, for whatever reason, getting, back-to-back starts. I don't know why. For me, I looked at this and I'm like, if Stenlund...
Because they didn't want to give Askarov back-to-back games because they played the Wild the next night.
Yeah, but okay, then why didn't they start Askarov against Vegas?
No, I don't know. That I can't answer.
Okay, then.
I'm just saying, why did they...
No, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I'm just saying. How Stenlund was able to step on the ice without getting his block knocked off blows my mind after the Celebrini hit that happened earlier. That part kind of pissed me off. The other thing that pissed me off, Vlasic getting scratched for the second straight game. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, kids. He came into 2025 being, all we do is win. And he came in Jersey, Tampa Bay. They won both games. And then since then, where the hell has Vlasic been? All I know is that the Sharks haven't won since he's been gone. Whatever. But this Utah game, Wallman and Kovalenko don't even make it because they're dealing with shit. Vlasic scratched for a second straight, and it's another one of those games. Sharks score first, can't hold the lead, lose by 1. But first time so far for San Jose that Georgiev did not allow 4 straight goals or 4 goals at all.
He was good in this game too.
I was going to say he was absolutely fine.
Yeah,
which I don't know is like a great compliment. Absolutely.
No, he was
fine.
good. I would say he was good.
He was fine. And then it's like, where the hell is the offense? You can only score 1 goal? Really? Like, what the hell? And then Warsofsky talking about, I guess, the response from how putrid they were against Vegas. He goes, wasn't good enough tonight. Puck play was awful. Wasn't enough. I mean, I don't know. I'm getting Warsofsky's starting to piss me off a little bit with some of his post-game shenanigans. Anyway, so they play the Utah game. Again, to me, the fact that Stenlund didn't get, just run as soon as his blades hit the ice, to me, is a problem. You got to answer that shit. Anyway, they come back the next night. They play Minnesota. It's Pride Night. Recognized. Askarov goes in goal. And holy shit, dude, with Marc-André Fleury here, I was like, oh my God, the broadcast is going to go batshit crazy with fucking Game 7 mentions, dude. Remember Game 7? I remember. Did you Game 7 that Game 7? I Game 7 the hell out of that Game 7, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Jesus Christ. The thing that gets me on this one, no Kaprizov, missing their top 3 defensemen. And it was like, yep, no problem. We're still going to kick your ass. Wallman, Sturm, Grundstrom all return. And it all starts with the Eklund turnover, a Rossi backhand. And right at that moment, I was like, if I'm Askarov, I'm a little humbled in that moment because that was a weak-ass backhand that got by him.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Boldy makes it 2-0. Eklund would bury a Celebrini rebound, which was, love that. But the thing that gets me on this, why the fuck is Warsofsky benching Smith? Early into the second.
I don't
Like,
know,
dude,
man.
what's your problem?
I just like I don't even think it was like I didn't think the play that he did like it wasn't great, but I don't think it was egregious,
Neither do
right?
I. Like, I don't understand why he's. Show me what Goodrow, or well, not Goodrow, Barkley. Show me what the hell he's bringing to the table that he doesn't get a scratch, but Will Smith does.
Yeah,
I shouldn't
I
say
know.
scratch, a bench.
Yep.
But good God, man, there's been some times. Let's be honest, dude. Ferraro, I don't know what you're doing out there. Your ass needs to watch the game from up in the press box. But nope, not going to. But if your name is Will Smith, if you're 19,
That's normal, unfortunately. I mean,
pisses me off.
the first goal wasn't good. Like that's definitely one. I think the second one was a weird one because obviously the angles that you showed, I would like to see what Askarov actually saw in that shot. Because I feel like the camera angle makes it look pretty bad, but if you like the way I kind of saw it, I was wondering if like I think it was Henry Thrun, but I could be wrong. Was like he just had that's who he had in his eyes, and the player just kind of went around him and shot. So I'm curious I'd be curious to see what Askarov actually saw in that second goal. But yeah, look at like Will Smith. I don't think he didn't have a particularly great game, but I think when you look at some of the other, like especially the previous two games, I think there's a lot of people that shouldn't get on the ice, but I guess you have to play somebody.
I don't know. It's like I understand. Yeah, I wasn't happy, but I understood the fact that there was a couple times few times this year they put Smith in the press box because it's all part of the plan.
Sure.
Part of the development. Sitting him in that moment, I'm like, no, this is not part of the plan. I'm not
punishment for sure. 100%.
Yeah, this is, and it pisses me off when I see like, why is he getting done, and there are other guys on this team that should be getting done the same way that aren't. That pisses me off. And I see
Welcome
Ruben
to the NHL.
Yeah, Ruben going, Will Smith getting that Kevin LeBanc treatment. Owns real estate in the penalty box, baby. I hope that did. If Will Smith is ruined the way Kevin LeBanc was, dude, I'm gonna find out where Warsofsky lives, and then I'm going to protest vociferously. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like it's not
going to be very upset. Anyway, and in this game it was Pride Night. The other thing that kind of I hate to do this, but I'm going to do it.
Okay.
I didn't really like the and it's not like the Sharks or the beat writers for the Sharks are the only people to do this shit when other teams were doing their Pride Night. Do we really need to like make a big deal or even mention who's using Pride tape and who isn't? Like maybe we just let that shit go. If you want to go out there and do your thing, let them do it. The fact that I think it was Pashelka, Shang, I don't know if Max did it, but they're the three biggies for the Sharks. I just don't like the idea of like, if you're keeping count, Toffoli and Celebrini and Ferraro and this guy, I don't like the idea where they're like saying these guys are using the tape almost as it kind of comes across like I can understand like idiots are going to look at that and go, oh, well, this guy clearly Ty Dellandrea doesn't support the cause, and Shang, even in the post game, asked about, asked the players that he talked to about the tape and it's like, look, go ask your questions, do what you're going to do you. To me, it just came off as like, just let the players do their fucking thing on that stuff. There's no
that's
need.
why we can't do jerseys anymore, right?
Yeah. So my point being, there's no need to call attention to it because let's be honest, if you call attention to the guys who are using the tape, it's really calling attention to the people who don't. You know what I mean? It's the Seinfeld, like, who will not wear the ribbon? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think part of it is obviously easy engagement.
Yeah, and I just don't care for that. To me, that's just if the guys were clearly not doing the on ice jerseys anymore. If guys are going to do the tape, let it just ignore it. Let them do their thing. I don't like seeing and again, this isn't just for the local scribes here. This is across the league. If when it's Pride Night or what, don't keep count. Don't keep score of, well, this guy and this guy and this guy, these 8 players, they clearly are down with the cause. They're allies. Because literally it comes off like, well, the other, 12, 13, 14 guys, oh, I guess they must not be allies. It comes to that whole thing of you post on social media, I really like apples. Why do you hate oranges? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, look, don't get me wrong. Like, I think it's like, I think the initiative is important. Let me just say that.
Oh,
Like,
love the initiative.
right? Yeah. Like I think it's important.
But let the players do that.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, I think it's fine. I know it's like, I agree, because I think there's probably people that are down with the cause that maybe they didn't use the pride tape, right? And now we're like, well, why didn't they? And I think that's
exactly.
Like, I think that should be avoided, because I don't think that helps anything. I don't think that's how you bring people together on these things.
Yeah, dude, all the shit with oh god, who was the goalie that we had a couple years ago that wouldn't do
James
it?
Armour.
Yeah, all the shit that started with Reimer and it's just like, what if we just like didn't make a big deal out of this? But anyway, let's get on to some other shit that happened. Some takeaways from the week. Dude, the Sharks have scored 2 or fewer, and I know, like, Brody is just like, oh, that's my jam. I came up with that 2 or fewer, baby. Oh yeah. But 2 or fewer goals scored over the last 7 games. It's making you sit there and go, but we can't get any offense out of this group. We know there's no defense.
Yeah.
Come on, we can't score at least once in a while. Shit. Where are we going to find it? Because Warsaw, he keeps fucking with the lines.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one day it's you get the Lunds, you get the college kids, or what are they? The college line, the sober line, whatever the hell, it's Graf, Celebrini, and Smith. You get that, and then the next game you said, nope, fuck it, Celebrini, Toffoli, and Cunnin. And you're like, what? And so I don't. I kind of put some of that shit on Warsofsky, to be honest with you. 45 games played, 32 losses between regulation and overtime, and 22, just under half, by 1 goal. And so if you made it half, dude, that would be 22 points. That would put the Sharks at 54. It would be 3rd in the Pacific Division, 6th in the conference, tied at 9th in the entire NHL with the Canes. That's how close this season has been. If they could figure out those goddamn 1-goal games and just win half of them, there would be hope.
Yeah, if they were a better team, they'd win more games.
Not even a better team, dude. I mean, that's borderline flipping a coin. My God, can we? Last Sunday, we talked about Logan Couture and like, okay, are we putting the toe tag on that body? And then, of course, the next morning, the Sharks evidently had an update with the local scribes. And you think about it, Logan Couture's last game was January 31st of last year. He's not even skating. And then it's like, oh, when's the time to call it? And it's like, dude, they're not going to call it. I'm calling it. He's not playing. I would bet the house. Couture is not going to play this season.
Why would you play, like, I mean,
he
hasn't even started skating. Like, what's he coming back for, the playoffs?
Yeah, exactly. Like, really? And, and sadly, I don't think he's ever going to play again. The last 2 years of that contract is going to feel like a lifetime, when you look at the cost. But
I mean, what it does, but it's not going to matter because it's going to be on the
Yeah.
LTIR if that's the case. Like,
Exactly.
doesn't
Yeah.
even matter.
LTIR or LTI retired. Right now, Ferraro, Goodrow. Somebody explained to me the Goodrow thing. Ferraro, Goodrow, Granlund, and Cunnin are all wearing A's.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm managing this transition, first off, I go back to 3 letters. I forget this 5-letter bullshit.
Yeah, everyone does. It's like, it's a weird thing.
I don't like it.
A lot of teams do this now, I feel like, though.
Yeah, and I don't care for it. So I don't know, if they're going to respectfully transition his letter, do what you need to do. But like time, time is, or whether if Father Time is undefeated,
Yeah.
you look at the contracts, what they're planning on doing. For me, I give Toffoli the C because he's only going to be here for a couple more seasons. And he is like a grizzled vet that has like gotten it done. I give an A to Celebrini. Where does the third A go? And I ask that because I think you can you can sit there and go, do we go grizzled vet? Do we look at Vlasic, or who has never wanted a letter? If you look at, his story, dude's been in the league almost 20 seasons. Yeah, I don't think he's ever won a letter unless it was like somebody
I would put the C on Celebrini
instead of Toffoli.
Yep.
Really?
It's never going to be Toffoli's team.
That's true. I'm just saying, like deferring to the vet who's been there and seen it all.
Just
for like and he's only here for like 2 more seasons.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. I think you put it on Celebrini because Celebrini is the future of this team. So
for like the next 12 to 15 years.
Correct.
Yeah. So I don't have a problem. But okay, so Celebrini gets a seat. Okay, I give an A to Toffoli. Who gets the other A? So it's like, do you go with a Vlasic or a Ferraro, a Goody, somebody who has history with the team? Or
no, I think you go someone forward. You go with someone like Wallman or Eklund.
Ooh, you don't think it's too soon for either of those guys? I mean, Eklund, I think you can debate too soon. Wallman, of course, because Wallman's like 28, but it's just
but I think I think it's time that like this thing
it has to transition.
It has to transition. You have to start looking forward. Yeah, this team spends way too much fucking time looking in the rearview mirror and masturbating about
it. Game 7, baby.
It really does, though. Like
it does. A lot of people in the chat saying Granlund, and I agree with you, but I don't know that Granlund's going to be here.
Extension, absolutely.
I was going to say I don't know that Granlund's going to be here after a month and a half. You know what I mean?
Yeah. To me, obviously, like it's time to start turning this over, man. Like the worst thing, like here's what I worry about with the Sharks, right? Like this team has to start doing things to start getting better. I don't want to fucking talk about Gavin McKenna next year. And I don't want to talk about the guy the year after that or the guy the year after that. It's time to start looking forward. It's time to start making moves to get back into contention. It's not going to be an overnight thing. But like, I don't want to be the fucking Detroit Red Wings that are still looking to try and get back in the playoffs. I definitely don't want to be the Buffalo fucking Sabres. Like,
but
you know what I mean?
To be fair, Detroit went out and got former Sharks head coach, former Detroit assistant coach. He went out and got T-Mac. All of a sudden, dude, they're on a fucking scorcher right now. What are they, like 7-1 over their last 8? Like they're killing it right now.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, like, fuck, maybe we should have brought T-Mac back. I don't know.
Well, I mean, look a new coach bump's a thing. We'll see if it sustains. I mean,
yeah. The new coach bump is always something fun to watch.
Yeah, and like Chris is saying in the chat, like if I recall correctly, weren't Crosby and Taves captains? Yeah. So was Connor McDavid. Like, so was like look around. Like these are the players that like you find your player going to build around, and you put the fucking C on, especially when they're like Celebrini. Like Celebrini has already shown that he's a leader. That, at least from what we can see. Again, we're not in the locker room. We have no idea what happens in there. But if you look on the ice, you look at how he, takes care of himself on the ice. Like he looks captainly to me already.
Well, and I love Chris's point because it's like it doesn't matter how old you are, how many years you have. It's, what do you do game in and game out? And Crosby and Taves were both those kind of guys. Celebrini is that kind of guy. And I think it's also, it kind of sends a message to everybody in that locker room, and perhaps particularly the vets. Like, just like we talked about earlier with Warsofsky's game, we need an 18-year-old to drive this ship, really?
But he does, night in and night out.
Yeah. So, Jesus. Okay, hold on. What the hell does Tarantula say? You guys should make a T-shirt with my face on it, and in bold letters it reads, "A to be fair." Yeah, I would love that. But I feel like Shorzy or Letterkenny probably has probably have the call on that. The one thing I wanted to ask you, what the fuck happened to Marc-Édouard Vlasic? Like, he played 2 games versus Jersey and Tampa. The Sharks won both of them. Then he's been scratched for the next 3. The Sharks lost all 3 of them. So played in 2 games to start the year. And you look at the roster, the Sharks are carrying 8 defensemen.
Yeah.
Why didn't Mook get sent down yesterday? What the hell
because they want because again, they want Mukhamadullin. They don't want Mukhamadullin playing AHL games. They want him playing in the NHL. And now they're in a really bindy spot because they're going to have to send him down when guys start coming off the IR, obviously, like just to make the numbers work. Like someone's
No. What defenseman is on the IR right now? There isn't.
It doesn't matter. You can, but your roster doesn't have to be X forwards, X defensemen. Like you have to.
But I mean, what's the point of carrying 8 defensemen when one of your guys is what do you? Shit. What's the term when you can send somebody down? Waiver exempt. Yeah, Mukhamadulin's waiver exempt. Why is he still here?
Because they want him playing NHL games.
Oh my fucking God. What are we doing?
I don't know. I mean, like, I get it. Like they want, obviously I think they want to give him some runway to try and keep the job, which I think is good. Because again, like Mukhamadulin's a guy that they brought in to be a part of this thing going forward.
How often do you see an NHL team carry 8 defensemen?
Just in weird, like I think once the trade deadline comes, like the blue line's going to get a lot less crowded. But I like the idea that they're letting him play and trying to keep his spot through his play. I like that. I think that's what they should be doing. I don't know, man. Like it's weird that Vlasic came back for 2 games and he's already sat for a few already.
3.
I don't think it's obviously been play. Obviously, like I wonder. I don't know what.
I'm not saying he's the key to winning.
No. I'm
how do you you waited half the season for him to return. He returns. He happens to play in 2 games that you win, and then you scratch him for the next 3. What? I don't even get that. But whatevs.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't think it was like I don't think he got scratched. I again, like there's a lot of miles on that body, and it's hard. It's hard coming back and playing. It's hard coming back that late in the season after not playing for so long.
Well, and
like it's gonna take them all to get up to speed. So I wonder if it's just like
Puck Guy
couldn't go, but
Puck Guy is saying perhaps Money Mike is cooking a move, and I'm like, nobody's taking Vlasic. Like, I don't know what would be the other move. You're not going to move Mukhamadullin.
Oh, no, they're going to, I think eventually, like when they have to get the roster size back down, once the IR clears up, like Mukhamadullin has to go down 100%. Yes. But they don't have to do it yet. So they haven't.
But, I mean, my point being, it's like nobody's going to take Vlasic's contract because, and I'm not sitting here crying in the club about it. They don't have any retention. So, nobody's going to take fucking Edward Vlasic. He has 1 more year left after this year at like $7 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nobody's taking that fucking deal. 37 years old. Fuck out of here. All right, the Calder race is still on, evidently. Like it's real early on. Who was it? It was Mitchkoff seemed to be like the early favorite. He was the one that was like leading the.
Yeah.
It's like a horse race, and it's like, and here we go, Mitchkoff out to the early lead, and all of a sudden,
Well, Celebrini wasn't playing.
well, I mean, yeah, he missed the 12 games after the first one, of course, but he comes back, and that's it. It's around that first corner. I was like, and Celebrini coming out of the back stretch. Here we go. And the person that seems to be coming out of the back stretch is Lane Hudson from Montreal.
Yeah, really good.
And so the question, of course, becomes, is there a bias for the Calder, towards a forward the same way we see it where points is the bias for the Norris Trophy? We've seen 2, 3, 4 defensemen that are all stunningly better than a guy like Erik Karlsson, but Erik Karlsson had a lot of assists. He put up a lot of points. So we're going to give it to him.
I like Lane Hudson a lot. I think he's a really, really good defenseman. I still think, like, I know it makes me a homer, but like it should be Macklin Celebrini. Like it just should be.
See, let's see how the back nine goes,
However, one of them plays at 7:30 Eastern, and the other one plays.
That's the thing that scares the shit out of me, dude.
Yeah. So I mean, like I think, like, would I be mad if Lane Hudson, right, won the Calder? No, not really, because I think he's had a hell of a season to do what he's done at 20 years old as a defenseman.
Oh, and he came on like the first quarter of the season, first 20 games, he was like, figure it out. And dude, he has just come on gangbusters the last 25 games.
Yeah, and like he's got a ton of points for a defenseman. He's playing big minutes. And look, and playing defense is harder at a young age, but I still think what Macklin Celebrini does at a younger age, the way he plays, the way he plays outside of the points, and even he's still on obviously a really good point clip, but like just the stuff that he does at 18, like I would be a lot less concerned about this if San Jose was on the East Coast.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And I feel like Dustin Wolf is just like, I'm still here, but shit, whatever happened. Like,
Dustin Wolf is like, but again,
dude, he would have to win the Vezina in order to get the Calder this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's been really good, but like the goalies always get shafted in these conversations, and he's going to get shafted.
Yep.
I especially with the points that the other three have put up, it's really hard to compete with that as a goalie.
Yeah. Like I told you early on, I was like keeping a horse eye on the game. There's like 4.5 minutes left, and we're tied at 20 between the Washington Commanders and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Interesting. All right, close game. Definitely better than the earlier games today for the NFL. Those sucked. The other question, we kind of talked about this a little bit last week. I just want to do a quick check-in. Askarov only played one game this season. The one game this week.
Yep.
Again, that early goal, that backhand, I was like, oh, like be a little humble, Asky. Be a little humble on that one.
Not great.
Yeah. Like you got kind of. Where do you think what happens when Vanacek is healthy? Like, is Asky going to get sent down? Is like, what's going to be the move?
My assumption is yes.
Asky will go down?
Probably. I mean, again,
but I feel like it's going to be a very short time, right?
Yeah, because after the trade deadline, you can carry as many players as you want.
Yeah. But there's just so many different ways to go about that whole call.
I think if you're not going to play, like if they will not let him have the net, and I know this contradicts everything I said earlier, but again, this is based on like based on what I said earlier, it should be his net.
Yes.
If it's not going to be his net, and you're gonna have a 3-headed monster, like send him back down to the Barracuda, get him playing every fucking game, like that. Like it's malpractice on their part, in my humble opinion. I think he's played good enough that he should be the guy. Although Georgiev did have a pretty good week, but
numbers wise, yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought
if we're not counting wins, he was okay.
Well, I mean, how many wins? Again, like Askarov's
0.
loss column is quickly growing as well.
Yeah.
But I think if you can't look at just win. I know that's like, I think a lot of people do that, and I get it. Like,
well, that's what Remenda says that. So, how good's your goalie? Well, how many wins does he have?
Right, but I mean, like, Askarov would have to go and score some goals to get wins on this team. So,
and don't think he hasn't like skated out far enough to try to get some of those. You see, that guy's coming out of the crease.
Yeah,
like it's on fire.
He gives me a heart attack every time he fucking comes out of his net. Absolute fucking heart attack.
Let's see what else happened this. Oh my god. Okay, so they had a couple. They had an auction this week. A Smith. Will Smith and a Celebrini jersey both went up for auction, and a couple pucks. But the weird thing is like these are both jerseys from the jumbo retirement, and this is evidently the second grouping of jerseys. And I'm like, how many fucking jerseys did Celebrini wear that night? While he was sitting in a seat staring up at a banner. Like, I don't understand that. But either way, the first one went for $16,000 and the one yesterday went for $12,000. My point being, whoever's buying these things, why? Why are you spending such a ridiculous amount of money on this shit? You're never going to get it back.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
On those? No.
Can I hit Sleepy Mofo here in the chat? I know I answered
Hit him up. Hit him up. Which one?
He's saying, let Askarov help the CUDA in the playoffs. What's he going to do in the AHL? My counter to that is, what is he going to do in the AHL? He's proven he can play at that league. You're not developing him anymore by keeping him in the AHL. You're probably, if anything, you risk diminishing returns because he's not being challenged in the AHL like he's going to be in the NHL against actual shooters. Like, you can, there is such a thing as over-ripening a guy.
Yeah. Ask Detroit about that.
To be the franchise goalie for this team, you need to get him playing against the best shooters in the league. And you're not going to get that in the AHL.
No.
Period.
All right. Let's move on to our what used to be stock up, stock down.
Yes.
For the boys.
What is it this week?
Figure it out, or in Jerk's honor, applaud and fraud. This week, I'm going to applaud William Eklund. Thought he had a good week of games, despite the outcome of 0-3, but he had 3 points this week with 2 goals. So, William Eklund, you're my, stock up, Ferda applaud, but don't get too big of a head because the pool, the selection pool was very small. Who's your stock up for the boys applaud?
I'm going to go with Georgiev. I was really hard on Georgiev last week. But I feel like, we have to be fair. I think, again, I didn't like the first 2 goals in the Vegas game, but after that, he locked it down and got shelled.
He got shelled. And only allowed one more.
And got absolutely shelled, but, locked it down. He wasn't the reason they lost against Utah. Like, I think he had a good week. And I think if we're going to completely crucify the guy when he's dog shit, which he had been up to that point, we have to pat him on the back when he's actually been good.
I completely agree with that. Stock down. Figure it out. The fraud. The fraud of the week for me. Dude, it's Warsofsky.
Okay.
For benching Will Smith versus Minnesota last night. Like, Barclay Goodrow is bringing nothing to the table. That he is the guy that brings napkins to a picnic. That everybody else is doing the potluck. He's the guy who's bringing napkins. And it's like nothing to the table. Somehow he's playing every fucking game.
Yeah.
So Warsofsky, I don't understand why you bench Smith, but Goodrow, you're like, oh, now keep doing what you're doing. No. And let me just throw this in there. I got a little bit of go. Everybody, take a look at your screen right now. This is a stick tap to Good Boy FM on Reddit, literally putting the numbers together and showing you that Goodrow should be getting scratched on the regular. When you look at all the different players that are factored in, you see Barclay Goodrow standing out as being the by far worst guy. Goals for versus goals against as a forward at even strength. He's horrible. So, Warsofsky, you're going to bench Smith, but you're going to let Goodrow sit there. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Is Goodrow getting in there? Because what was that game that he scored in? Was it game 7? Is that what it was? Yeah. All right. Who's your stock, Dan?
I really struggle.
Say Ferraro, fucker.
Because really, honestly,
it's
it was such a shit week for this team. That's really hard to center somebody out and be like, this guy was the absolute worst.
Yeah, you're like, everybody was not great.
It was such a really shitty, it was just such a bad week. This team could not score goals. Period. This team can't fucking score.
Yeah.
I don't I can't
So blame the puck then.
You know what? That's probably what I'm gonna do. Yeah. I don't know, man.
Just blame it.
I can't I don't think the defense wasn't bad, wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But all right. Let's move on. This is something that came up. I don't know if it was on Reddit or social, whatever, but it came down to a whole thing of when do you put the toe tag on a player that was taken into the draft? And, how many years can, have to go by before you go, oh, that was a shit draft. It was horrible. And let's go back. It's 2025 now, so let's go back to 2015 for the Sharks. And okay.
Oh, I think it's the answer to the question is 5 years.
Okay, 5 years. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So let's, and I'm even going to give you a little bit of headroom there. So I'm going to say, go back to 2019. Where the hell are the Sharks at this point? So if you go back to 2019, none of those players, Artemi Knyazhev, Hamaliuk, Spiridonov, Bragimov, and a player called Santeri Hataka.
I liked Hataka too.
Dude, I loved him. I loved him, but didn't make it. Then you look at the draft after him. It's like Ozzy Weisblatt. Okay, Sharks traded him. Thomas Bordeleau, for whatever reason, can't fucking figure it out and get out of the the Barracuda roster. Robbins still has dealt with injury issues, but still can't fucking figure it out.
I think that's the problem with Robbins. Tristan Robbins, I like a lot, but he has spent so much time on the IR, and eventually that does really stunt your development.
And that's the whole thing. You look at that 2020 draft. It's like Weisblatt. Okay, they traded for him, or I'm sorry, they traded him away. Who did they get back for him?
They traded him for a guy. Oh, fuck, I can't remember his name. They were hoping that they could get him to stay, but he decided to go home anyway. It was a similar deal that they did last year when they had, what's the dude that went to Germany halfway through the season? Fuck. Why am I losing my brains here? I can't remember anything today. This is so bad.
Well, who was the oh god, there was those couple of guys. Oh, jeez. Who are the couple of guys that popped into my head? Not Chmelevsky and Chekovic, but there was.
Afinasev. Martin Kaut. So last year they traded for a guy named Martin Kaut. I don't remember what the trade was, but
no. That was the one where it was Ryan Merkley. It was problem for problem. Colorado didn't, had an issue with Kaut. We had an issue with Merkley.
Yeah.
So we made that trade, and then there were two other pieces.
Thank you. Yeah, so Leon Gavanke was the guy they traded for last year, and he was basically said that I'm going home. He basically and the Sharks.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
And the Sharks, to their credit, said no. They convinced him to stay. He played on the Barracuda last year. Yeah, Leon Gavanke. And then he stayed around. But then when it pretty much got pretty down to the fact where he just saw the call up wasn't in the cards, he did go back. So I think they kind of being emboldened by that when they traded Ozzy Weisblad, it was kind of a similar situation with Afanasev, and I'm sure I butchered that name. I apologize to our Russian listeners.
Both of them.
And basically, again, they were hoping that they could kind of work the same magic again, but unfortunately it didn't work out and he decided to go home. But I understood the swing.
Well, so 2020 draft, Ozzy Weisblad didn't work out.
Yeah.
Thomas Bordeleau still sitting in the A. He's had a couple of looks. He had an amazing overtime shootout goal versus Vegas.
I'm going to push back for a second. I don't think it wasn't that Ozzy Weisblad didn't work out. It was just that he got passed in the depth chart. Like they had a better player in Ethan Cardwell.
Okay, and that's fine. I'm not saying they didn't. It's just. Either way, it's a player that was taken by the Sharks that is no longer with the Sharks. It's like,
correct.
And that's the whole thing. It's like, if you're taking guys, you're taking them because you think they're going to be part of the future. So Bordeleau.
And he did make his NHL debut I think last week.
Oh, that's right. Oh, and Nick DeSimone. What was it?
Yep,
Semyon?
DeSimone, yeah.
Yeah, I love seeing that for the that was Nashville, I want to say. Nick DeSimone, was that Nashville? Yeah, I love that. Anyway, so Weisblatt not here. Bordeleau can't get out of the A. Tristan Robbins can't get out of the fucking hospital.
Can't get out. Yeah, he can't get off the IR. Like he's had a really tough go. I like Tristan Robbins a lot, but he has had a rough go of pro hockey.
It drives me crazy. Gushin, I feel like he came out of the gate gangbusters, got the call up, played a couple games, and had I got that one assist or whatever, and then since then he's just been he can't find the score sheet with two hands and a map with the Barracuda recently. What the hell happened to this guy? I don't know.
The wall.
There you go. Brandon Coe seems to be pouring it on a little bit recently with the Barracuda. Then the rest of it.
Brandon Coe is a guy I can't imagine the Sharks seeing much there anymore. He's not a Mike Greer guy.
Yeah.
He's big, but he's a and this I'm gonna steal this from Lacey, but it's the best way to describe him. He's a 6'3" perimeter player.
Jesus.
Right?
No, a guy like that, you want him under the net, in the paint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He's not nearly physical enough. He's not a Mike Greer guy. I don't. Again, he's probably on his way out the door. I can't imagine them extending him, at least not to a two-way contract.
Yeah. The rest of it, Alex Young, Adam Raska. Adam Raska was a guy that I liked. He seemed like he was he would just start throwing hands at anything that said
I love
anything.
Adam Raska.
Yeah, I love
Adam
that
Raska
dude.
Took a lot of really stupid penalties, but man, I love Adam Raska.
Finally, Linus Oberg and Timothy Spitzerov. And I got to say, my buddy owns a Spitzerov jersey just because he loved the name. He's like, hey, his name is Spitzerov. Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of zoned out when we were talking about Goosh. Goosh is injured. Another guy who's guy who
since that go of the injuries. Yeah, but since that that spell that he had with the Sharks, whether it's injury or anything else, it's the times that he has got in hasn't been great. Anyway, the 21 draft, Eklund, yes, we enjoyed that. Took him a little while. It's going to take him a little while.
Well, I mean, if you shouldn't, I mean, you should watch top 10 picks.
Oh, of course. And then round 3, because there was nobody in the second round, but round 3, Benjamin Gaudreau, isn't that the guy that I can't get a gig here, so I'm gonna go, I'm going to, what was
Re-enter
it?
the draft
Re-enter
and
the
then-
draft. And then nobody, like he sat there for 8 rounds and he goes, maybe I'll sit here until the 9th round. And they're like, dude, there's not even 8 rounds. You're done.
Yeah, Ben Gaudreau, the one thing that the Sharks really did, whoever was their goaltending drafting under Doug Wilson, like they should fire that guy into the sun.
I think he has been.
Because their goaltending scouting is brutal. I understood like the thing on Ben Gaudreau. I think he's the guy who like a lot of people thought was better than he was, including Team Canada for that matter. Because he played on such a fucking god awful Sarnia team. But
Oof.
like, yeah, their goalie drafting has been abhorrent. Like they've done much better in like bringing in free agent guys than they ever have from anyone they picked in the last I don't know how long. Since Stanlock. Like,
well,
I don't know.
That was just amazing. And then you consider the names that were taken, like Gannon LaRock taken after that, and that seemed to be an up and down name. Like some days it was like people were like, "Oh, this could be a fun pick," and then who and. Cardwell, Ethan Cardwell, obviously a guy who's, going to get some sort of look, but then you look at the rest of it, whether it's Artem Guriev, Max McHugh. I mean, I'm not even going to say the rest of these because they're not worth saying. They're not going to get a fucking look. We go to 2022. That's the one that I'm staring at. And I'm going, the 2022 draft is the one that I stare at because I'm like, if somebody doesn't get fired in 5 years, if this spreadsheet remains the same, I'm going to be pissed off because it's like first pick, 27th, yeah, way at the bottom, but Philip Beestead. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm just saying, has he played a professional game yet for, like NHL game? No.
But this is his first season in North America. Like,
again,
this is why we don't do this.
And that's why I'm saying I'm going through it. It's like Beestead, Lund, Havlid. I don't even know who the fuck Michael Fisher is. Mason Beaupit. We've heard things about him here and there. Jake,
he didn't even. Yeah, I think he's already out of the system.
Yeah, exactly. Jake Furlong, another guy. I think he's already out of the system.
No, he's on the Barracuda.
Oh, is he still there? Well, because I never fucking hear about the guy. And then Muldowney, Barnett, Reese Laubach. Either way,
the local kid.
No, like they took 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 players. Whew. That like I'm not, and so that's why I'm saying, what is the time that you can grade a draft? You're saying 5 years.
5 years.
So that's a draft that
why.
A year from now, then we can start to go, what the fuck happened?
Because here's why, right? So you got to think the first 2 years after the draft, most of these guys are still playing in their respective leagues, whether that be junior hockey or whatever, right? So It's hard to write somebody off when they haven't played a pro game yet. And then like, obviously, like guys are going to take different time. So I think if you give them like 2 years to finish wherever they're playing and then 3 years of pro, like usually by then you can get a better idea of what you got, especially for a position like defense, which generally takes a lot longer.
Oh, yeah. You got to marinate.
Right.
And so, I mean, Tyga's saying Beestead's going to be good. He's just a slow burner. And that's fine. I love slow burns.
I think, again, and he's a guy who he's playing his first season in North America. I've liked him on the CUDA. I think he's probably hit a little bit of the wall that a lot of these guys hit because the schedule is a little bit harder and the play is definitely harder than anything you're going to play over in Europe, unless you're playing in the KHL.
But I will say, like, I mean, if you just look at the numbers, like the last 2 years seem to be a lot of fun. It's like, it's Celebrini, Dickinson, obviously. It's like Celebrini, obviously, like running the ship for the Sharks. Dickinson killing it in the O, with the exception of like scoring for the other team that he was playing with. Chernishev where we're going to talk about in a little while, like all of a sudden is finally like healthy and playing, assigned to the AHL. Then you move to the other draft, and it's like Will Smith. Obviously, we would like a coach that could, like give him a fucking little bit of length of the rope. But Quentin Musty got over his injury and decided to score 5 points over this weekend.
So he got his first game back today. 2 goals, 3 assists, and a 10
as you do. Whenever you come back
just
from
a
any
casual 5-point night.
Casual, very cash. But Haltonen, Svoboda, Cagnoni, and I'm a huge Polkamp fan. I think that might be a guy who needs
Svoboda is really good at the World Juniors.
See, so that you look at that 23 draft and it's like, good Lord. Anyway, so you're telling me the answer to the question, 5 years, 5+ years,
in my opinion. Yeah, because I think you have to give them time, obviously, to have some pro development, especially for guys that are outside of like
the Washington,
outside of the first round.
The Washington Commanders have won their playoff game. I think this was in overtime. So Washington beat Tampa Bay. So there you go. That's the hell yeah. Sorry. Anyway, go ahead. That's the one good thing that happened today, sports wise.
There you go. No, I think I just think you have to give them time to at least start playing pro games, and then to kind of see how they develop once they start playing pro games. So I think 5 years, especially for the guys, obviously some guys are gonna be different. Like Macklin Celebrini is the first overall pick. You expect a lot more out of him than you do a guy you took in the 4th round, obviously. You know what I mean? But I think for I think at 5 years, especially for some of the later round picks that aren't surefire NHLers, the percentage of guys past the 3rd round that make the NHL is really, really, really small. Which is why I think they're talking about probably cutting some rounds from the draft again. Because it's true. If you look at how the percentage of players that actually make it in, it doesn't make it the 7th round. The percentage of 7th rounders that make it in is so infinitesimal.
Not everybody can be Joe Pavelski.
That's true, and it's very difficult, right? But that's the problem, though, right? But I mean, you can find those guys as free agents or whatever. So
oh man, that's so fun. So another thing that happened before we moved on is there's my favorite writer for the Sharks, Curtis Pashelka. He did a thing talking about how many times the Sharks have coughed up a lead in the final 3 minutes of a period, and I'm like, Curtis, I love you, bro. But dude, we've been talking about that shit since game 3 of this season. I love that we're ahead of the curve here and we got the receipts to go prove it. But somehow nobody else remembers. Okay, fine, whatever. But I'm just saying, we know this. We know, or if you listen to Kate McKinnon on SNL, we know this. Tweet of the week. Oh, this is a great one. Holy fuck. Here we go. Look at your screens if you got them. Pete Blackburn saying, this season, Tampa has had a game against the Hurricanes that was postponed due to a hurricane. And now LA has had a game against the Flames postponed due to a fire. The response that I saw to that was chef's kiss, because somebody came along and said, oh, damn, the Avalanche and Predators have to be on high alert, right? Do you want a game, canceled by an Avalanche, or worse, by Predators? Yeah, and my whole thing is, as soon as I saw that, I'm all shit. Okay, guys, I put it in the with the Teal Town crew. Everybody, if the Sharks have a game postponed due to a Sharknado, I'm out. I'm not doing the podcast anymore. I'm done.
It's over,
dude.
I mean, on a serious note, though, obviously thoughts are with the people in Southern California, because that shit is crazy.
Dude. Basically, everything in Malibu and everything that was remotely close to the coast,
is
just gone.
Yeah, I mean, that's super sad, and I hope that you're taken care of properly.
Dude, absolutely. Such a bummer. Okay. I'm not sure what the hell Chris is talking about in the chat. Anyway, last week we talked about a report that showed that the ratings were kind of down for the NHL and the NBA as well, but not to be outdone. The NHL said, no, don't look at that. Look over here. And put out a report, pushed a lot of great numbers as goals per game, 6.1.
Yeah.
Which is,
Fun.
fourth straight season at plus, at 6 goals plus, second longest stretch in NHL history.
Which is wild because the goalies are so good now.
I know. That's the part that I don't get. 44.
Because the shooters are better.
Yeah, well, that's true. 44% of the games have comeback wins.
Man, the Sharks, I don't know how much the Sharks have contributed.
Yeah, the Sharks are just like, oh, we got you, Bo. We got you, boo. Don't worry about it, baby. We're going to do this. 96% capacity, tied for third highest attendance. And I'm going, hey, I'm trying to be a nice guy, but I watch Sharks games. I've been to Sharks games. This is not including Sharks games. I mean, they're easily at the bottom 5 of that list. And then close games, 75.7. It's is close games, highest rate in NHL history. To me, I'm going, well, what the hell do you consider a close game? Is that 2 goals or less? Is that 1 goal? What's the difference?
It's decided by 1 goal. It says right at the bottom. Decided by 1 goal or 2 plus following an empty net goal.
Okay. You know what? You actually saw the asterisk. I looked up there and I saw the plus in the upper left, and I thought that went by. Okay, so decided by 1 goal or 2 falling empty net. All right, we'll give them that. But 900 league-wide save percentage? Dude, weren't you telling me 915, 918 was
it's gone down. 915 used to be that was, but it has league average has gone down.
Oof.
And again, it's because the shooters are really good and the goalies are still really good, but the shooters are just unreal now.
Now, the best part of this is 70s. So over, 3 out of 4 overtime games are ending in the 5 minutes. They don't have to go to that stupid.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, that's exactly what you should want.
Yeah, if anything, it makes to me, that goes, oh, well, that's an indictment. To me, that goes, overtime needs to be 7 minutes. Give them another 2 minutes.
Yeah.
There.
That's actually, that percentage does surprise me a little bit because I thought again, I don't get to watch a ton of hockey. That's not the Sharks these days, but I would feel like there's there's more shootouts, but I will trust their numbers. That's good. That's a good thing.
They don't suck.
It's 3 and 4 games ending without going into shootout is a good for the NHL. I think it's good for just hockey in general.
Absolutely. So the 2026 Winter Classic reportedly being played on Friday, January 2nd, between the Panthers and Rangers.
What are we doing?
Dude, I'm telling you. Lone Depot Park, home of the Miami Marlins, formerly Florida Marlins. So they're going to get that game on January 2nd. And then they said, hey, what if less than a month later, we just went a little farther north? We're way down at the southern tip for Florida. Let's just go up to Tampa, host the fucking Bruins. Instead of and the other thing is you look at the dates. January 2nd. We talked about it last week where it was it went from New Year's Day, then they went to New Year. It'd been New Year's Day for the longest time with just that game. Then they made it New Year's Eve and put 12 other games on the same day. Now they're saying, oh, let's move it out to January 2nd because they're so fucking afraid of college football or whatever. Pussies.
Well, justifiably so. It crushes ratings.
But you know what? They're going to get crushed either way. So at least fucking do it, To at
Yeah,
least
no, I
be
get it.
that guy that goes, you know what? We don't care what's happening January 1st. For, New Year's Day, no other games. It's only going to be this one. That's what we're doing. Promote the fuck out of it. That's what we should do. But either way, at this point, I feel like let's just end the classic. Like, let's do a stadium game. That's fine. Let's think about the forward thinking. I really liked the Tampa Bay Bolts jersey. I don't like when they try to do the what if we painted their gloves tan so it kind of looks like it's leather, and it's like, no, it doesn't look anything like that. Just do the forward thinking thing. Do one a year, switch it around. No, but like if you've played in an outdoor game, whether you hosted or played in it, you have a 10-year embargo. You can't play in one for 10 years. Like, just do that and you'll be fine.
Like the draft.
Yeah. It's like
out.
Chicago. You are not going to be in an outdoor game for the next 10 years. Fucking deal with it. I'm just saying. So it just drives me crazy. I
don't know whatever.
What about a rivalry series? Hold on. What about a rivalry series? If they're going to do it, how about we do an outdoor rivalry series? You do 2 outdoor games a year. You do, one see, I don't want to say East Coast, West Coast. I want to see Eastern Conference, Western Conference, right? So maybe you have a game, this year you could have a game where Tampa is hosting Florida or vice versa. That is your East game, your outdoor stadium game or whatever. And then on this coast, it's, and this is just me spitballing, Colorado hosting the Dallas Stars, and Colorado's host, they're playing it where like the Denver Broncos play. But you do one in each conference. At least you have some split up there. And like I said, then if that happens, that Tampa hosts Florida, whatever, the next 10 years, Tampa and Florida, don't worry. You're not getting another fucking game for 10 years. We're going to make other people, we're going to spin this shit. We got, 13 other teams to deal with, or, you know what I mean? Like maybe it's not 10 years, but there's a stretch of time where it's just, let's get everybody involved instead of like, well, wouldn't it be great if Chicago'd the hell out of this Chicago game, because Chicago is so amazingly Chicago. Like, I'm so tired of the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would like that. A rivalry series, I think, would be great. And what if you...
That's what they kind of was before, though, right? I mean, that's what
I think that's what they started. Were. Yeah, like they tried to
the
do
stadium
that.
series. Like we played the Kings.
Yeah, that would have been... Well, yeah, we played the Kings. Anaheim and L.A. played each other in SoCal with an outdoor game. Yeah, like, let's do that shit again. The other query, this is one I want to bake your noodle with. This is one that I want to... oh God, there's a couple of people on The Athletic. They do a bit on The Athletic where people send them ideas of like how to make the NHL better.
Okay.
Here's my idea. What if, because we already know that basically the Sharks play everybody in the Eastern Conference. They play all of those teams twice, one home, one away.
Yes.
Appreciate that. In the Sharks play in the Western Conference, but Central Division, play them 3 times. Then in the Pacific, in their own division, well, it depends on, because of the stupidness of everything. Some are going to be 4, some are going to be 3.
They have to.
So what if, I like this idea. You take all the teams that have 3, that you have to play 3 games. What if you made that shit a series where you're playing your normal schedule, and then early in December or whatever. It's like December 1st. Okay, December 1st, 3rd, and 4th. All of those games, you're in Detroit, you're playing the Predators. Or you're in Chicago, you're playing the Blackhawks. All 3 games. You knock out the entire series in 4 days. Right? And I love that idea because obviously the team that's traveling doesn't have to travel. So they fly to that city and then they're there for like 4 or 5 days. And then boom, they're done. The only thing that screws it up, and I understand, is that it would be a case of there would be some times that, right now, every team, they host 41 games. They travel for 41 games. Well, what would happen if this year, the Sharks, they only hosted 39 games, because they had to play a series. Or this is the next year where they actually hosted 44 games.
Yeah, it'll never happen because the owners will never go for that because that's money out of their pocket.
Yeah, but I mean, it would.
And not only that,
they would
the other
get it
problem with
eventually.
that,
they wouldn't get it this year; they would just get it next year.
Yeah, the other problem with that too is that the NHL team isn't the primary tenant in a lot of these buildings.
Solid point, but I just like the fact that it's like, oh, that would be so cool. Where you like, especially if you're an out of town fan, like, holy crap! If you're like a big Chicago fan, and
I mean, that's what baseball does, right?
Well, yeah, every fucking. But then again, baseball plays twice as many games.
100 million games. I'm aware.
Yeah, but yeah, I feel you. All right. So, anyway, that's just something that I would like to do. Let's move on to that other team that almost got it done this week.
Ooh, Barracuda.
So right now, the Barracuda 20-11, 1-2. They're 4th place in the Pacific Division by percentage. I mean, literally a fart behind Ontario, Calgary, and Colorado. They had 2 games this weekend. Bakersfield, both of them, they won 5-2 and then somehow lost 5-4. I thought they were going to win both those games 5-2, to be honest with you. The first one, Romanov starts, but it was Poturalski's Potsy scoring twice, getting an assist. So Potsy has 3. Like, I felt like he got named to the All-Star game, and he's like, watch this.
Watch me out.
3 points, while Bordelot, Robbins, Bailey, and I always fuck up his name. What's his name? Is it Ole or Houle?
Donovan Houle. Yeah.
There you go, Houle. All right, they all had 2-point nights, and you're going, okay, great way to start the weekend. And then game 2, Aaron Dell in there, and you're like, yep, no, we're going to do this. And somehow, despite 8 different Barracuda players being on the score sheet, they would blow a 3-1 lead, despite Dell saving 46-51. Like, what the hell happened in that second game?
Okay, so they're in the like this was like the inverse
what
of
had
the
happened
Sharks
was
this was the inverse of the Sharks game where like it was kind of like they were the team, they were getting outshot by a bajillion and somehow ahead. The problem is where they allow people to shoot from. And if you can go Kevin Lacey at Kevin Lacey 22 on Twitter, he put up the shot map from the AHL site during the game, and you will see that where a lot of those shots came from was like basically from one face-off circle to the other, and it basically filled up everything in between. If I was a coach, I would probably have a defensive system that wouldn't allow so many shots from that specific area. However, I'm not a coach. John McCarthy's still the greatest coach in the entire world, according to the San Jose Sharks, and I will never understand why. Look at the Barracuda got what they deserved in this game. Like, they absolutely shelled Aaron Dell. I think Aaron Dell did everything he could to keep them going, but
Well, I'm
maybe
the
don't
beat
let Aaron
plug.
Dell face 50 fucking shots.
I'm the beat plug in the chat. It says the Condors fed off the energy in the bar and it was electric.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it was a good crowd. It generally is a good crowd in Bakersfield. I probably just nothing else going on in Bakersfield.
I was going to say there's nothing going on in
Yeah, so there you go. You got the Condors. No, man, like I don't know, like I think they got what they deserved. It's a little concerning at this point for the Barracuda. This is a team playing 500 hockey now, and that's not good.
Oh, and I'm just now recognizing your lid. Somebody sent you the 10th anniversary cap?
Yes, Michael Molasses sent me that. And he also sent me this frenzy here. Give me a second.
Hell yeah, that's so fucking cool, dude. Way to go, Molasses. Appreciate you. That's so cool,
we also
man.
got frenzy here. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I don't even have one of those.
Yeah, this is sick. I love this one.
Yeah, dude, that's fucking bomb. Hell yeah.
So, frenzy can sit there.
That was a week where, since Askarov has been up with the Sharks, it has been kind of up and down. It's been, win one, lose one.
It's been win one, lose one, win one, lose one. It's not good. I think, like, again, I still think this team is good enough that they shouldn't be playing 500 hockey. Again, things would have to monumentally fall apart for them to fall out of the playoff race, but I don't think playing 500 hockey is the recipe for success there. So, I mean, they have to kind of get back on their winning ways because there are teams behind them, right? Like, I don't think they're going to fall all the way. Like, I think they'd have to worry. I'd be a little bit worried about the Colorado Eagles. I'd probably be a little bit worried about the Tucson Roadrunners. I'm not super worried about the Condors or the Canucks. Like, I feel
what
like
about Ontario?
I mean, Ontario's already ahead of them, so like I'm just looking at teams behind them.
Yeah, but for the longest time, it seemed like it was Calgary and San Jose, and then all the over the last, and maybe it has to do with Askarov being called up, but
that doesn't help. Yeah, it helps.
Well, this week the CUDA are going to play a pair in Abbotsford before beginning a 7-game homestand. I think that's the longest stretch that the CUDA are going to have. So a 7-game homestand, including a rare pair against the Toronto Marlies. So I don't know. Is Noah Gregor still playing for them? I don't know. Are there any former Sharks? I don't know. So make sure to check that out. Again, with the Barracuda, the fun part this week was Potsy and Askey were named to the 2025 AHL All-Star Game. Is Askey going to play? I mean, if he's still with the Sharks? No.
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 No, I can't imagine. Like, I can't imagine they would risk if Vanacek isn't. I don't know what the timeline is for Vanacek, but I can't imagine there being a situation where they would risk him to injury in a meaningless game. Without having Vanacek in the wings. Not
happening. The San Jose Sharks this week also assigned a new name for those of you not paying attention. Egor Sharof.
Yes.
Did I get that?
Yeah.
Okay. He's going to the NHL. He was drafted by the Sharks in the second round of the 2024 NHL draft. Has yet to play a game this season due to shoulder surgery, but go ahead, Ian.
So this is fascinating. This is really fascinating because the plan for him this year was to play with the Saginaw Spirit in the Ontario Hockey League. And obviously he had a shoulder injury, which is what's kept him out so far this season. I'm curious as to the Saginaw Spirit this year. They're not the team they were last year. Last year they went to the final of the Memorial. Actually, they won the Memorial Cup. They're not that good. They're still good. Like, they still have weapons on that team. Michael Misa is going to be a top 5 pick. But it's interesting because I took a quick look and I'm trying to figure out why they just wouldn't send him there now. I don't think that he's listed on their roster, so I don't think there's any issues there with the OHL trade deadline having just passed. Saginaw is not over their import. You can only have so many import players in the Canadian Hockey League, which obviously a Russian like Chernishev would apply against. As far as I know, he's their only import, so There's no issue there. I'm curious to see if this lasts or if this is just a situation where because he's on an NHL contract, they had to assign him to the Barracuda because he's healthy. So they had to get him off the roster. And I'm wondering if this is just a conditioning thing and if he still goes. But we'll see.
All right.
I have no idea what they're doing. It's fascinating.
Let me hit this real quick. Paul in the chat says, pretty sure there's some bonus tied to being named an AHL All-Star for Askarov.
If he's got something in his contract, he might definitely. There might be some
cha-ching.
There might be some money coming his way for that. I just can't imagine the Sharks sending him there if he is one of their two goalies that they're rolling with.
All right, we also got to talk about Jules' second favorite player. We know Beasted is the first one, so second favorite player, San Jose Sharks prospect Quentin Musty, named first star of the game with a 5-point performance. Hi-yo. First game back from a broken hand, earned points on half of the Sudbury Wolves goals, and a 10-6
It was like a
victory.
10-6 final.
Yeah, 10-6 over Kingston. It was like 2 goals, 3 assists. Like, hello. Like, can't wait to see this guy next season. But
fun player, man.
Yeah, so say what you need to say.
Oh, he's super fun. I am super excited for him to make the jump to pro hockey. He's just done really good things when he's been healthy this year. I mean, obviously injury, and then before he kind of held out because he was hoping to be traded from the Sudbury Wolves. The trade deadline passed. He is still there. And obviously this is the kind of game that you want to see from him, even though like obviously staying in Sudbury wasn't something that he particularly wanted to do. However, good for him, to come back and put up a game like that, knowing that, he's going to have to finish the year in Sudbury, a team that's probably not going to make the playoffs. And it's fun times for Quentin Musty. Fun times. Yeah. Oh, I can't see if AJ's there because I can't actually see AJ on the camera. So what else we got to talk about? I don't know.
All right. What had happened was?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right. So what do you think is the trajectory for Quentin Musty? Is this the guy who's going to be with the CUDA next year?
He should be.
Okay. Do you think
so.
he
How
has...
old's Quentin Musty? He's got to be 19 now, right?
I don't know. Jules.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he would turn pro next year.
So,
but I could be wrong because he was drafted 2 years ago.
Is this the guy who has the skills that he might make the leap early? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, because if Sudbury, I don't know if Sudbury's going to make the playoffs or not. Like, they're going to be in tough to make the playoffs, and even if they make the playoffs, I don't think they're long for this world in the playoffs. Although having Musty back would help. I mean, you look at the Sudbury Wolves. They're a team that's obviously he held out for that portion of time before Christmas.
I was going to say, between the holdout and the injury, you're like, God damn it.
And the injury, right? Like, he's missed a lot of time, so maybe having him back and kind of get Sudbury really going. But he's a guy who could be, he's a guy you could see signing an ATO and playing on the Barracuda.
Skylar's saying that he turns 20 in July.
Yeah, so he should be on the HL next year.
Oh my God, so many college kids. These goddamn college kids. AHL for a year, maybe call up at the end of the year next season. All right.
Yeah, like but he could be like he could end up playing as soon as when Sudbury's done playing, he can come play in the AHL. So we could see him at the Barracuda at the end of the season.
As long as he's not the next Dylan Gambrell, I think we're all really happy about that.
He's way he's such a Quentin Musty does the hardest thing to do in this in hockey, and that's score goals.
Okay,
and he scores them by the boatload.
I just know we were all really
game is going to give you absolute headaches. But he can shoot the puck.
I just remember we were all super fucking juiced about Mirko Mueller and Dylan Gambrell, and who was the other cat? We're all fucking Ryan Merkley. And what happened was Anyway,
All
so
talent, no heart.
oh, dude, you are not wrong. Dude, at one point, I'm gonna tell you this. I've never told anybody this before. I'm gonna say it. There was a time that me and my homie, my Brett man, me and Brett we were so what we thought we were so invested in the Sharks. We were so upset with the way that they went out. I might have. I think it was probably the reverse sweep.
Oh,
And that like after the like game 6, we were going to go to the tank. Like if we had one more drink, we would have done it. But what we were going to do was just get like the soapy water, whatever, and a couple stacks of toilet paper, and we were just gonna adhere toilet paper to the front of the tank that just said no heart, because we were like so pissed off. And anyway, so if you ever see a bunch of toilet paper that says no heart, I'm not saying it was us. I'm saying we might have inspired it. That's all I'm saying. So, to wrap it up with the Barracuda and all that shit, remember to make sure to follow Ian and Jules and Lacey and all them kids on the Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Live tweets, occasional gifts for all those Barracuda games. This week, what are the CUDA? They're going to play. Oh yeah, Abbotsford before 7-game homestand. So I can't wait to see how the 7-game thing
and they
goes.
should, like, the Canucks this is a game. This is a team where I feel like this team really needs to get back on track, and this is a great opponent to do it against.
Well, who is it? I mean, are you saying that like they need to get used to like Dell being the backup, or like what is the issue with the Barracuda? Like that they need to get it back on track.
They need to play. They need to just play better. Like just top to bottom, I think they just need to be better. Are there
certain players? Because Potsy's getting it done. There are definitely some players that are getting it done. You just look at the numbers over the last 5 games. Is there anybody that kind of stands out for you? Like where the hell you been? Like is it a Cardwell? Play. Is it it's defensive.
It's defensive play. Like again, like Aaron Dell is a serviceable AHL goalie.
Well, I mean, last night
he's not good enough to shell him with 50 shots.
I was gonna say, but yeah, I mean, I understand you're saying defensive. I mean, you look at yesterday, up 4-1, lose 6-5.
Yeah, and again, like, and how many shots did Aaron Dell face? 50 something.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. Coming up this week,
exactly how many shots he faced.
Coming up this week, the Sharks are going to start a 5-game roadie beginning in Detroit, who suddenly know how to play hockey now that they have T-Mac on their bench. And I love the somebody did a meme or whatever that
51 shots.
Oh Jesus. Somebody did a meme for T-Mac like very early on, like within the first 48 hours of him being with the Red Wings, where he said somebody heard the quote or heard him scream like, play fucking hockey. You've been doing it since, all your entire lives. Did you fucking forget? So, I mean, stick taps to T-Mac. I think T-Mac, if we remember, actually did interview for the current gig that Warsofsky has. Makes you wonder. Anyway, the Sharks are going to play at Detroit, then at Columbus. Hopefully, I don't know what's going to happen, but I would assume there's going to be some sort of acknowledgement of Johnny Hockey. Yes. And then the Sharks will head out to Long Island to finish up that week before we move on to, what is it? Boston and Nashville. Back-to-backs in Nashville. So anyway, beginning in Detroit, Ian, dude, T-Mac has Detroit rolling. I just, like, is there any reason right now where you're kind of like going 4-game losing streak sounds about right?
Yeah, I mean,
And don't think
rough,
that that T-Mac doesn't want to, like if you only win one this week, it better be against these fucking guys. You know what I mean?
I feel like he's been gone long enough now that I don't really think that's going to
I don't
play
buy
into a
that.
factor.
I don't buy that at all, dude. I feel like if
They're
you were
not
there for any way, shape, or form, it doesn't matter how long. If you can fucking knock their dick in the dirt,
I don't know if it's
you want to do it.
But are you putting money on the board against the Sharks? This incarnation of the Sharks.
Dude, who doesn't like easy money?
Man.
Ask Hockey Jerk about easy money. He'll tell you.
No, I get it. I mean, like it. Again, like it's like it. The thing that bothers me with this team is like we had 3 games this week. Askarov started one of them. If that's going to be a trend that continues, I don't know odds.
You know what? That is a very fair point. Let's see if Askarov starts 2 of 3 this week in a big way. Huge. But then they're going to go to Columbus. I don't like, there's a part of me that is kind of like, I feel like they're, half of them are, Columbus strong. They're right behind Johnny Hockey, trying to do a lot of shit in his honor, and then which I completely respect.
This team is playing out of their minds right now, though.
They're
like,
playing out of their minds.
They're like, what are they, like in the second wild card spot? They're
but that's what I'm saying.
3 in their last 10. Like this.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the tragedy that happened, I feel like they would be like, the Sharks are like 31st right now. They would be 29th. You know what I mean?
Insane.
They're
like
over
what
their
they've
heads.
managed to do this year is absolutely.
Oh, you have to, dude. It's a stick tap. It's a doff of the cap. Absolutely acknowledge what they've done this year. It's
the
insane.
Boston Bruins are 1 point ahead of them. I didn't realize that was this bad. The Boston Bruins have a minus 26 goal differential. That is fucking insanity.
Boston with ownage on the shot. Yeah, I'm tired to hear about. What did Tyga say here? 32-year-old, 32. Shemlevsky is 32 years old. Fuck
no,
you.
No. No, he's just asking if we technically still do have Shemlevsky's NHL rights.
Okay. Fuck you. There's no way he's that old. Anyway, then the Sharks will finish out the week on the island. Honestly, when you look at there's 3 games this week: Detroit, Columbus, and Long Island. If you look at it, you sit there and go, if the Sharks go 2-1, absolutely believable.
Mm-hmm.
If this, honestly, this could be a stretch where they sweep the week, but they're right now on a 3-game losing stretch. So right now for you, what do you? I mean, I know now. Here's the whole thing for the people that weren't aware. We played this game a little while ago. Like, what was it? Last week or the week before, where we were like, okay, what's gonna be the game? I think this was like on New Year's, right?
Yeah,
on New Year's Eve, we're like,
when are they gonna win again?
Yeah, when are they gonna win a game? And I said Detroit, and somebody else said Columbus. And then of course, what happened? They won the fucking next game against Tampa, which nobody selected.
Yep, they won the next 2 games, and then all those teams started being really, really good.
Yeah. So I mean, this coming week, Detroit, Columbus, the Islanders. I'm not gonna like make you put money on the board, but I'm just gonna say what's your.
I mean, if you're gonna pick up points, like I feel like the Islanders are a team that, like, I know they've won their last 3, but they have not been that good.
I'm just gonna say 3 points. I think they're gonna win one,
Yeah.
and they're gonna go to overtime in another, and then they'll lose.
Yeah, and they gotta lose by a goal. So
yeah,
overtime.
I'm gonna say 3 points.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, 3 points is probably like, man,
honestly, 3 points to me.
Week?
Dude, to me, 3 points is kind of like, wow, we're reaching for the stars now, are we?
We are reaching for the stars at this point.
Hold on. What is Tarantula 70. Bill Burr and AJ are the same person based on how many times they say fuck. Now, to be fair, I think I say fuck way more than Bill Burr. But anyway, doesn't matter. So remember to do that like and subscribe thing. Help us stay commercial free by using the super chat option when you're here live. Or better yet, and that's, it's what we appreciate. Use the Venmo at Tealtown USA, because that way Google doesn't take 30% of your donation.
True.
You can find us on, oh my God, there's too many social media apps.
There's so
Podcasts. I hate it. I fucking hate it. Dude, stick taps to Puck Guy earlier. I was like, hey, here's the here it is. Here's the link for the YouTube. He's like, I'll put that shit on Blue Sky and what the hell is the other one? I don't know. The other alternative.
Threads?
And he goes, I'll put it on there. And I'm like, dude, thank you, because I'm not gonna do it. I'm not doing any of that shit. I'm fucking done with all of this.
I barely. Yeah, I know. It's like, follow me for this and this. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I think I said one thing on Twitter this week.
No, it's dude, I'm telling you, instead of follow me here, and I'm like, no, suck a dick this way and suck a dick that way. Don't care. Lick my balls that way. I don't give a shit. Oh, Threads. That was it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Let me get my little drinky poo. All right. So, for everybody who's here, and I'll look it up as all 63 of you right now live in the moment, we thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday. I got to say, I'm a little upset that it says 63 live viewers, but only 24 thumbs up. Come on. Help a brother out. Like, it takes it takes a 2-second click for you, but for us, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. Come on. Give us a little up click. Give us a little thumbs. Guys, little thumb right, little thummy poo. Little thummy poo right there. It's a beautiful thumb. It's happening right there in your face. Right there. Anyway. So Ian and I were we were here. Is what we got credit for attendance, I think, is where we're at.
I was here, so I didn't get fined, and I have not been fined.
What a douche! Out of nowhere, we fucking go what 8? What is this? 60. We go an hour and 47 minutes, and then somebody comes in and says, "No, not giving you the thumbs up. Gonna give you the thumbs down."
Sad.
Yeah, not gonna do it. All right, so. This week, what do we got? I got to look over here at the scoreboard, and it says Tuesday at Detroit, Thursday at Columbus, Saturday at the New York Islanders. So we will be here next Sunday following those 3 games. And
true story.
Don't forget, don't. That's the American version of a boot. Don't forget to join us after every single one of those games with After Dark.
Yes, I'll be on this week.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many are you doing?
I believe just one.
Oh, okay. Well, good for you. Good for you. It's just one. As it should be.
I need to be more on the spreadsheet, because I always sign up at the last minute and I'm like, oh right, after decent time games this week, and then I go and I'm like, oh.
You're like, God damn it.
Someone's already got there because I'm dumb and I don't do it till the last minute.
So with that, I think we're all good. We thank you so much for joining us and wrapping up your week of Sharks hockey here on a Sunday night. And whoever gave us the thumbs down, you know what? Thumbs down to you too. We'll see you all next Sunday night for the Pucknologists, but sooner, following Sharks at Detroit with Puck Guy, and who knows who else is going to show up. Thank you guys. Have a great evening. Go Washington Commanders right now. Good night.